Hello, current clients, past clients, and future clients. I'm Rebecca Lindquist, the speech and accent coach in the Silicon Valley, and today I have a special treat for you. So as you know in these videos, I like to share insights with you around speech and voice, and even around executive presence. And an integral part of executive presence and how we show up when we speak to others is our posture. Posture and voice are inextricably linked. So today we have a guest who is the founder of the Vitality Center in San Mateo and also the father of reposturing. Please join me in welcoming to our conversation Aaron Parnell. So the big question for a lot of people is once they record themselves and they become aware that, hey, my voice is not what I would like. I'm now aware that it sounds different in the recording than it does in my head. And then I get a sense of, okay, this is what a role model speaker for me sounds like. I would much prefer to sound this other way. What do I do to create change?
You know what? Here's what I do. I try, at the beginning, I try to channel my favorite speaker. So sometimes I'm speaking like Nelson Mandela because he speaks in short phrases. Do you know why he does that?
No, why?
I'm going to posit that if he's speaking in a large stadium, he has to wait for the sound to finish bouncing around before he says the next phrase. Otherwise, you get the last conversation and the current conversation bouncing against each other.
Sure.
So you have to think like you breathe, you speak, and then you let it bounce around a little bit and you speak again.
I love that.
That's it. That's it. So I have to channel my favorite communicators. Sometimes I try to channel Tony Robbins. Sometimes I try to channel Martin Luther King. Sometimes I try to channel Nelson Mandela. And each one of those times, just like when I'm learning a song, I try to listen to every version of that song that exists so that somewhere in there I can take a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and it winds up being me at the end of the practice. So change is adoption, and adoption with practice leads to change.
Makes so much sense. So can you tell us about channeling? What do you do when you channel someone? What's the process?
I try to pretend like I'm them, or I'm talking about posture. And here's me channeling Nelson Mandela. Your posture is the communicator for your soul. What that does is give you a few words in packages so that it lets the time in between the phrases gives time for you to think about what I just said. Now, if I'm going to say, I want to communicate a little bit like Kevin Hart, I want to tell a story, and I want to, so, and you wouldn't believe this. And so I'll be more animated. I'm going to channel my favorite, just like comedians do. And so think of your favorite communicator and channel them through you. It still comes out sounding like you with a little bit of them. And I have this thing. If you break up the word recognition, it's recognize. It's knowing something again. When you recognize something you like in another communicator, that thing already exists in you. And modeling your favorite communicators is awakening the part of you that you hear in other people. So if I'm going to be the best speaker that I like, with Nelson Mandela, giving you thoughts to consider, to change your life. This is what makes the difference. And this is what allows me to adapt and change. Eventually, I'll find myself in there and people will think, wow, you're amazing. I haven't heard anybody speak that well since Nelson Mandela. So if you practice channeling, it becomes part of you. And when it becomes part of you, you don't have to think about it anymore.
So it's basically your interpretation of that person. You're
That's
allowing
right.
that to be you.
That's right. That person's example has awakened something that already exists in you right now. So make a list of your favorite communicators, and you'll find that there's something that's true about you and your style that you can use that model to awaken, and you'll become the effective communicator you're meant to be.
That's great advice too. We'll have to try that exercise.